Welcome to the Own Your Life podcast, where our goal is to help bring hope, healing, and peace by sharing our experiences and inspiring you to own your life. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Own Your Life podcast. So today we are going to be talking about what is your word for 2021. And I first off want to start with today. We're actually recording this on Super Bowl Sunday, and my team is the Buccaneers, if you didn't know that already. So I'm very excited because the last time this happened was 18 years ago and I was in junior high. So let's hope that Tom Brady can give him a win. Not the biggest fan of Tom, but I kind of am a little bit more now for obvious reasons. But anyways, let's get to our podcast today. So this is episode 32. And what we really wanted to talk about is, the words that we pick and focus on throughout the year. And some of you might have done this before. Some of you might never have even heard of this. So we've heard of this from John Maxwell and our pastor at Elevation Church, and a lot of other places where people will pick one word at the beginning of the year and they will focus on that word for the entire year, because we feel like if you were to pick, a bunch of sentences and all these other things, that you could get mixed up and probably forget them, just like New Year's resolutions, and they kind of just fall off and go into the abyss. But by focusing just on one word, I feel like is a lot easier and more doable to have that, come true throughout your year when that is a primary focus. And last year we actually picked abundance, which was kind of funny because obviously we didn't know that COVID and all this was going to happen, and how all of 2020 was insane. But we picked abundance and we saw that immediately, even at the beginning of the year, which was great. And we've even got a little card that we have placed in our house in a place that we pass very often, so we see it a lot, to remind us, to focus on abundance. And that was last year, and that definitely came true. And this year, we have actually picked focus to focus on, which is kind of funny. I feel like I was being prompted to think of that word even last year, and Matt had also brought up abundance, and we prayed about it. And abundance is what we both felt that we should be focused on for last year. And then this year, I felt like focus was just coming up again. And I feel like, that's just God nudging me. And, Matt and I prayed about it, and we decided, we want to keep focus as our word for this year. And it's already been playing out, which is really cool. Just when you take that energy, that mental energy, and you focus on your word, which just happens to be ours, it makes a huge difference. And you can see results with that very quickly.
Absolutely. And with focus, the only reason that you may not be winning in a certain arena is because you have broken focus. Broken focus is the only thing that's going to take you away from whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. And when you have broken focus, it can leak into other areas of your life. And it can cause you not to win in multiple areas of your life because you're really trying to win in this one area, but you can't win because you're constantly having split focus or broken focus, and you can't win in every area all the time. And that's a part of life. It's tough to kind of take on sometimes because you want to be able to succeed in multiple areas at once. But a lot of times it's actually hindering you from having the big leaps and bounds that you want to have, because you're constantly splitting your focus up amongst all these different things. For instance, if you want to grow in your finances, focus strictly on your finances. Don't focus on anything else. Strictly focus on your finances. If you want to grow in your marriage, focus strictly on your marriage. Don't focus on anything else. If you want to grow in whatever it is, you fill in the blank and focus on that one area. And I guarantee you'll start having success. But when you don't focus in, you don't hone in on anything, you won't be successful in those areas. And it's nothing bad. It's just the fact that your brain can't function that way. You have to understand that you have to hone in on one thing, focus on it, and then it will come to pass, but it won't come immediately. You have to hone in and focus on it and re-dial in on it all the time, because if you constantly are waking up and thinking about something else, you're never going to get the true success that you really want out of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like, at least for me, that I am a task person. So I like to multitask, which I know is not always the best option, but I feel like I've talked myself into that that's more efficient and that I can get more done that way when I've proven time and time again that that's not the best way to do it. And that's because you have broken focus when you are multitasking and you're kind of doing everything halfway and not really giving something full attention and then moving on to the next. And I know I've talked about this before in other podcasts, but that's just part of my personality being a choleric melancholy. The melancholy part is very focused on task and the fact that I've, tried to overwhelm myself, but didn't think I was doing so in the time, it definitely had an effect. And I think that, when I finally broke it down to one thing at a time, that made so much more sense. And I got better results because of that. And I just feel like I got lost a little bit in that last year as well with all the stuff in 2020. It was like getting lost in the noise and just trying to do way too many things at once, and not really doing anything to completion. And that also, I know for me at least, that gives me anxiety, and that can kind of drive me crazy because I'm not really getting anything done at the end of the day. And I feel like, being clear and being focused on one thing at a time is going to be more effective, because we can have many goals and many dreams and be multi-passionate. There's nothing wrong with that. I always thought like, oh, okay, I need to pick just one thing and that's all I'm going to do. And that's not the truth. So you can have multiple goals and passions and things like that. But the thing is, you need to pick one of them and focus on that one at a time. You can't try to do everything at once. I feel like the book, The One Thing, is a really good read. If you haven't read that before, that talks all about what we're saying, to focus on one thing at a time, because that's ultimately going to help you reach your goals a lot faster than trying to do everything at once.
Yeah. I mean, and really focus is just eliminating distractions, not just from other people, but from yourself as well. And that's what it means to really focus in. You have to eliminate all the distractions around you, because you may be focusing on stuff that is hindering you from having success. So what that really looks like is that if you focus on the possibilities for success and not the potential for failure, because I think sometimes we get distracted by focusing on the potential for failure, not the potential for success. And it ends up kind of counterbalancing what we're trying to do. And whenever you are thinking about certain things, they will happen, no matter what it is, good or bad. And because I always tell everybody, when you're learning something new, you're like, well, what if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? Well, operating out of theory, you're never going to have true understanding of what you're trying to accomplish. And also, when you're operating out of theory, you're thinking of the failure within that action. And you're constantly taking 3 steps backwards when you're trying to take 2 steps forwards. So when you need to look at it like that, you need to figure out that you need to walk a little bit and understand that the more understanding you have and the more focus you have in that certain area, the more traction you will get. But if you're constantly operating out of theory, you're constantly thinking about the possibilities of failure, you're never going to have the true success that you really want to have, because you're constantly refocusing all the time.
Yeah, and I feel like that goes with the quote that we had last week, that, stop being afraid of what could go wrong and start getting excited about what can go right. That all has to do with your focus. And, like we've said before, what you focus on expands, which is kind of funny because that's our word, but it's the truth. If you focus on everything that could and will go wrong, then it probably will. If you focus on everything that could and will go right, it probably will go right. So it is very important that you put your focus on what you want. So you can also, and we've gotten this from a really good friend of ours, like when you are thinking about something and maybe it's positive or negative, at the end of it, put, because that's what I want. So if you're thinking, oh man, I don't have enough money to pay the bills this month, because that's what I want. So obviously that's not what you want. So change that around to make it a statement because that's what I want. So that's just a good test to check yourself if you are speaking negatively and focusing on the wrong thing.
Because that's what you want.
Nice.
No, and I think that one thing that gets overlooked a little bit within focus as well is a lot of people just focus on the results. You don't get results by focusing on results. You get results by focusing on the actions that produce results. So, for instance, if I want to lose 20 pounds, I need to figure out the actions that it's going to take for me to lose 20 pounds. I need to, hey, good news. Tomorrow I'm waking up at 5 a.m. I'm going to the gym. I already have my meals prepped for the day. I'm not going to McDonald's. I'm not going to Starbucks. I'm not doing certain things that are going to hinder me from this result. But I have to focus on the small actions that get me to that result. So what does it take for you to get there? Does it take those little actions every single day and those little goals that you have to accomplish every single day to have that massive result that you really want? So if you want to save $5,000 this year, what does it take for you to save $5,000 this year? Is it saving $5 a day? Is it saving $10 a day? What is it for you? Because at the end of the day, it's going to be that small action that you do and who you vote for, because every single dollar you spend votes for somebody else, regardless of whether you want it to or not. If you're spending all your money on Amazon, you're voting for Amazon to win at the end of the day. You're not voting for yourself to win. So how are you paying yourself, and how are you actually voting for who's going to win in your life? Because at the end of the day, you need to figure out how you want to win, what it looks like for you, what does those actions need to be for you to produce the results that you really want in your life.
I love that you said that. I feel like that's really important that we break down our goals that we're trying to accomplish into bite-sized pieces, because you might have some crazy, lofty, huge goal that's amazing. And we totally encourage, goal setting. However, if you don't break it down into a step that you can take today, you may never get there. And I think that's important, like you said, Matt, to focus on the actions that you can take now. What can you do now to get towards that goal? And maybe starting from the end goal and working backwards can help you do that, so you can break it down into small pieces.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's so many different avenues you can go with kind of breaking it down. But I would say that don't focus so much on that end result. Focus on what you need to do daily, because what you do daily will be compounded over time. And I think that that's, another great book, Compound Effect. We've read that. And I think that when you can focus on those small things every single day, of what's going to take for you to get there, and just don't be discouraged, because the journey is a part of what your true result is. I think so many people, even myself, I get frustrated in the journey sometimes. I'm like, why am I not there yet? Why is this happening? Why am I constantly getting stuck at this certain point? Well, it's because I haven't learned what I need to learn to get past that point yet. Whatever it is. If I'm trying to become a millionaire and I'm constantly getting stopped at a certain amount of money or a certain amount of, transactions or whatever it is, I'm not there yet. I don't have the mental capacity to handle that yet. So I need to do what I need to do. I need to educate myself. I need to learn more. I need to constantly get back into what I need to do daily so I can become that. But if you're trying to become a manager and you haven't got that opportunity yet, then what do you need to do to take that next step? What's the actions you need to do today to have that result later? Because you may not be at that point yet, and that's okay. But understand where you're at is where you're at. There's nothing to be frustrated with that. It's just, making sure that you realign your focus, because what you focus on determines your reality. So if you are not where you want to be at yet, understand that you need to readjust your focus, because what you focus on becomes your reality.
Yeah. And one thing that's really important that I feel like a lot of people maybe don't realize, I know for us, we're Christians, and, we respect every faith, so we don't push that on anybody. But we do feel like there's an enemy that is out to get us. And, I feel like the enemy wants to confuse us and keep us in uncertainty and in a haze that we can't see our goals and we can't accomplish great things. I feel like, we have to fight against that every single day. And I think 2020 was a huge testament to that. Not a good one, but it did show that when people are uncertain and they get scared and they're fearful, that bad things escalate pretty quickly. I heard that we've, had one of the highest suicide rates that we've ever had. And that sucks. That sucks to hear that, because I feel like so many people are operating out of this uncertainty, that they're in a haze. They're not focused on what they really want, and they're letting that control them. And it's so important to have focus on whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, because when you know your focus, you know your values, you know what you stand for, that makes decisions so much easier. I know for Matt and I, we have made a lot of big decisions in the time that we've been together, and we've done a lot of that in the past month. So, and we'll say this in a couple podcasts, but we've made a huge decision that we're about to act on. And it's something that we had to look at. What is our focus? What are our values? What do we stand for? What do we want in our lives? And that made the decision that much easier, because we had clarity on what those were.
And I think that that's a huge point you made right there, is clarity. Are you fully understanding what you really want? How much clarity do you have on that subject? Are you constantly preparing for the next step, or are you actually taking some steps? Because taking steps provides clarity. If you constantly operate in theory, like I was talking about before, is that you will never have true understanding of what it takes to be there. And I think whenever you're looking at it, and I was just talking to Cameron yesterday. He just played his first baseball game in college. I was like, so how different was it from high school? And he's like, it was a completely different game. I was like, it's weird, isn't it? I was like, because when you're in the stands as a fan, you don't understand what is going on in the dugout. You don't understand what's going on the field. You don't understand what it means to take an at-bat in a college level game. It's different than high school. It's different than rec ball. It's different than travel ball. It's different than every other aspect of it. It's just different. But until you walk on the field, till you take that first step, till you actually have clarity in that avenue, you're not going to fully understand. So I always tell everybody, you can't be a spectator in your own life. You have to participate. You have to go out and do something. You have to go out and make the results. And I know that all of you are. And I always want to make sure that we communicate that, because we always want to make sure that you are achieving your hope, healing, and peace through your life. And we don't believe that can happen unless you actually walk it out and provide clarity in your life, because you will not have peace until you have clarity. And that's a huge thing that you guys need to write down. You need to focus on, because there needs to be clarity in your decisions, because the secret to change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but building anew. And when you can build anew, everything will change in your life.
That's awesome. Yeah, I feel like another huge point to that is, and this is straight from the Bible, man without vision shall perish. People who don't have a focus, who don't have a goal, something that they are working towards, whether it's, with your spouse, with your family, with your business, you will perish. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to drop dead, but like mentally, you are perishing because you're not looking forward to anything. You feel like you've lost your purpose. And that can be really dangerous in many different ways. So I feel like that's also a very important thing just to keep in mind, that you need to have something that you're working towards, whatever that is. And there's millions of things that it could be. So there's no right or wrong reason. Whatever is important to you and what you want to do, that's what matters. So it doesn't even have to be anything huge. It could be something small that you just want to change and you want to grow towards. And that's great. Having that is going to give you energy just by working towards something, that's going to better your life.
Absolutely. And, with that, there is the acronym of FOCUS, which is follow one course until success. And like we were talking about, you can have multiple goals at one time, but you need to hone in on one and knock one out. Because not only when you focus on one goal, not only do you accomplish that goal, but you also build confidence. And confidence is as everything in life, it's always going to be able to build on something else. So when you knock out one goal, it's going to lead into something else. You have to have stair steps to everything. There can't just be this one ultimate goal, because at the end of the day, if there's the one ultimate goal and you're always chasing it, you're never going to feel successful, and you're never going to build the confidence you need. Because whenever you're going through life, you may not be as strong as what you need to be to accomplish that next goal. But going through one extra goal or one extra thing, it may build your confidence, may build your strength to accomplish that ultimate goal at the end of the day. So we need to have those stair step goals. We need to have those small wins along the way so that we can, get that last goal done, whatever it is that you want. And then you can reset it and build upon that.
And I think it's so important to realize, like Matt said, like, success doesn't come overnight. That, like anything that's worth it, it's going to take work. And by having focus, you can achieve what you want to achieve because you are clear about it. And you're able, to make those decisions and to move yourself forward. And I think that's, just something that a lot of people have lost. And you see a lot of people out there that are kind of just wandering around, or maybe they're in a job they hate and they're just doing it day in, day out, just because it brings money and they need to be able to pay the bills and whatnot. But they're not really passionate about anything, and they're not really doing much in life. And that's so sad to see, because we have so much potential. Like, we are born with so much potential, and that doesn't go away. What goes away is our, will to want to act on it. And I feel like it's so important to keep yourself in a positive mindset so that you can be focusing and going towards your goals and doing something awesome with your life, because all of us can. And I know there's so many excuses out there. Like, you're not too old, you're not too young, you're not, too big or too small, or not rich enough or too poor or whatever. Those are all excuses. That we are born with so much potential, and that doesn't go away. No matter what your circumstance, you can always pick yourself back up and move forward. And I feel like by knowing that, by acting on that and focusing on what you want in life, that ultimately you will be living the life that you want to live, and you will be owning your life.
Yeah. And I think that, just to kind of dovetail off that, even is that we're all going to fail. It's going to happen. It's not the fact of when you fail. It's the fact of how long you stay in that failure is really going to be determined whether or not you're able to focus and have the success you really want. You have to have a bounce back rate at some point. And the quicker you can bounce back from a loss to refocus is going to be your ability to win and to have success. And our pastor said today, you are going to have a failure and a failure linked together is really, if you can just kind of have enthusiasm through your failures, you're going to eventually have success. But, a lot of people dwell so much on that one failure that they never get to that success because they didn't have enthusiasm through that failure. They didn't use it as a teaching point to move forward. And I think that when you can use everything as a learning lesson for yourself and a learning lesson in life, then you're going to have the success you really want to, because you're focusing on that from a positive standpoint. And then you can move forward and have the true success that you want for you and your family and whoever else is involved in your life, because that's the true end game, is to really be happy with who you are and have peace with it, and be able to enjoy life with who you love. That's the true meaning of success to me.
I love that. And in closing, I just want to encourage you, if you do not have a word for 2021 yet, it's not too late. We're only in February. Go ahead and pick something. Maybe it's just by yourself, or maybe with your spouse or with your family, or maybe each of you has a word. That's fine too. But something that you are focused on, which you could also use our word focus if that's what you feel like you need to focus on for 2021. And if you already have one, then I encourage you, to write it down, put it somewhere that you're going to see it all the time, so that you're reminding yourself of what your word is for the year. And we've done this for the past 2 years now, and it's definitely made a huge difference in our life. So I encourage you to do that if you're not doing it already, and to keep doing it if you are doing it. And as always, if you like this message or know somebody that can benefit from it, please share and please subscribe. That helps us get the message out to more people. Please rate and review us. And until next time, own your life, because your life is your responsibility. Thank you all for listening. If this added value to you, please click subscribe and rate and review us. You can also find us at Own Your Life Co. on Instagram and Facebook and ownyourlifeco.com. And as always, own your life, because your life is your responsibility.